want. We've got to find a way of uniting. Now, if that's getting called far right, then so be it. You know, if I'm against, I believe I'm from the left. I believe that's where I don't believe I've ever changed. I just believe the left's gone fucking insane. When we look at men winning women's Olympics boxing medals, case in point. I need to go no further. You all know exactly what we're on.
Former England footballer Joey Barton now finds himself at the center of a national reckoning over speech, power, and accountability in the digital age, after being convicted in a UK court for a series of tweets deemed grossly offensive and intentionally harmful. What makes this case so explosive is not just the content of the tweets, but what they represent. A turning point in Britain's struggle to define the limits of free expression in an era where one person's social media post can reach millions instantly and inflict real-world damage. Barton did not just share controversial opinions, he repeatedly targeted specific individuals, including female sports commentators and a well-known broadcaster, using demeaning insults, edited images, and comparisons to notorious serial killers. His legal defense rested on a familiar argument that online speech, no matter how sharp or insulting, should fall under the umbrella of free debate and personal opinion. But the court pushed back, ruling that freedom of expression does not grant the right to weaponize a platform against others for the purpose of humiliation, intimidation, or incitement of harassment. The case has now split the British public into two sharply opposed camps. One side sees the ruling as proof that the UK is drifting toward a dangerous model of speech, policing a country where hurt feelings can be criminalized and where the state decides what opinions are acceptable. The other side argues that this is not censorship, but long overdue accountability. That speech is not a shield when it is used as a tool of sustained personal attack, especially by someone with a massive online following and cultural influence. What makes the Barton ruling so significant is that it forces an uncomfortable but necessary question into the spotlight. Does free speech mean freedom without consequence, or is there a threshold where expression becomes harm? And in a digital world where tweets spread faster than laws can adapt, who gets to draw that line? The courts, the public, or the platforms themselves? Barton's conviction will not just affect him. It may set a precedent for future cases involving online speech, celebrity influence, digital harassment, and the legal responsibilities of public figures. Whether history remembers this moment as a victory for accountability or a step toward state-regulated speech will depend on how Britain continues to answer that question in the years ahead.
Yeah, he was 19 obviously when he was killed, but he was a lovely, happy-go-lucky lad, very fit, athletic. His first tour away with two para, and sadly he was killed alongside his two other comrades, who were also young, like himself.
And what did it mean for you today? Because we know you've laid a wreath at the cenotaph, so not only marching past the cenotaph, you laid a wreath there with a picture of your son Nathan in the centre of that wreath. Tell us what that means.
It was really, we do it in Sunderland every year because we've got the biggest big Armed Forces Memorial Wall outside of Sunderland, outside of London. So we attend that every year, and SAFA invited us again this year, and we've always put Sunderland first, as you do, because you represent your city that you come from. And we just thought, right, we're going to do it in a day, and it was just amazing of the turnout that was there and everybody taking part, and just laying that at London at the cenotaph was just, just nice and a bit tearful, but we do it for not just our son but everybody else.
Yeah, we actually came down for the Festival of Remembrance yesterday at the Royal Albert Hall. So we actually went there last night, and then obviously today's been like the pinnacle, if you like, of have shown our respects to the fallen. So it's been a great humbling experience coming here and being able to visit the cenotaph and to see, to pay homage really to all the fallen.
And this is the thing. Obviously, you've been here representing your son Nathan. So you were invited by Safa, but I think what's probably amazing is 10,000 other people here. Yeah. Many of them Afghanistan veterans, who would have served in the same places as your son. I guess, do you feel that connection? Coming here and being around with those other veterans. Do you feel that connection?
Yeah, we do. We've got quite a lot. We've stayed in quite a lot with the families and friends of the fallen. We've just left a pub, with the Dr. D's whose son also passed away with our son. So we've got that connection with them all and everybody.
I suppose, it's that military family. It never leaves you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm ex-service, myself too, Para. And obviously it's always been a big family, within the forces community. Everybody seems to have that bond, and it's a bond that never leaves you. And obviously when you lose a son or a comrade, it just seems to bring people more closer together, I think. And it's a fitting tribute to come here and to see everybody come together and to pay the respects and raise a glass in their memories and that.
And of course you are both MBEs, so you've done some incredible charity work. Just give us a sense and insight into some of the charity work you've done to support others. Right,
so just after Nathan died, it was your idea, wasn't it? We went to the first the Remembrance Sunday, and we just stood there and we just said, there's nothing here. Yes, we're never going to forget the World War and World War II, but what about all of them conflicts since the Second World War? So we decided with to ask, because we've got quite a lot, the North East got quite a lot of veterans and armed forces, so we had quite a lot of fallen, from Iraq, Afghanistan, but we didn't just want people who's fallen, we just thought of people who's died in accidents or who was served. So we asked to get a group together and we called it Brothers in Arms, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we just thought, it'll take us 5 years to raise this money. Not just Sunderland, not just the North East, up and down the country. We raised I think £1 million. 300,000, probably nearly just short of £1 million within the first year. So we got in a lot of businesses involved, and we had the wall erected on the 11th and the 11th 2011, and it names every conflict since the Second World War, which is really good because a lot of schools and educations use that as well, for the children to go and see and represent every Second World War.
Yeah.
And then from then you come up with an idea then of the Veterans Path, which, do you want to talk about the Veterans Path?
So we turned around and thought of this idea of why do we only recognise people that's fallen and not recognise people's service in general, so any service what you've given for your country should be rightly recognised instead of being given a medal or a discharge papers or whatever what you do. If you've done a year or 2 year, 10 year, it doesn't really matter as long as you've served. And we thought, well, can we not get everybody's service recognised? So we came up with this idea of having a veterans walk path, and it's granite slabs, like a paving slab, and you can get your name, rank and number and your regimental cap badge on from right across all air, sea, land, and do merchant navy as well, and represent all the forces. And people have bought stones from across the country, and other councils have approached us and asked if we would do the same in their areas. So we actually do veterans walk pathway stones now in other cities, up and down the country. So we're doing these memorial paths, these stones, and like I say, they're open for anybody to purchase really. So, and like I say, other councils have took it on board, and Sunderland, I think we've got about 12 or 1300 stones laid down at the minute. It's quite a big path.
Wow,
so it's
fantastic.
Go on there, it's www.nationalveteranspath.co.uk.